Okay, here we go. Chapter 1. Hey y'all, APG Jamie here. And today, as I said, brings us Chapter 1 of a journal collaboration I'm going to be calling hashtag 6-pack collab. As suggested by a Bit of Birdsong Creative. So it is a round robin collaboration. There will be 6 steps, aka chapters for me. And our first one is to create a journal of the specified size. Cover, just the cover, okay? No closure, because we don't know what kind of closure or anything we would even need, all right? So, y'all. You've already seen names flashing on the screen. The other participants of this here round robin is the Shelley Studio, the Rusty Peacock, Jessica Harris, a Bit of Birdsong Creative, twosilveroranges, and myself, APG Jamie. Links to their channels will be in the description below. Also, we have no set rhyme nor reason for when we are posting videos, if they are posting videos, if they're even going to do more than one video per chapter, okay? I hope and tentatively plan on posting my one monthly video on the second Tuesday of the month. That's my goal, y'all. I also have in the description below a list of ingredients that I used for my journal cover. I started out with the thought of using those mono printed papers, and quickly realized I needed more. So I tried to recreate that similar feeling because I like the colors, I like the the way it looked. And as you've seen, I didn't have any luck on recreating one that made me feel the same. So I thought, well, forget it. We'll just make a whole new one. And we scraped paints, and we did the mono printing, and we did all that. Now we're just going to fall back to one of my favorite techniques. It's an old technique, y'all. Making crackles with the good old all-purpose Elmer's glue all. Okay? So you can see I'm putting that on. I don't know. I just decided to go this way because it seemed the most convenient for the orientation of how it laid out on my desk. Okay. And I'm smooshing it on there. Some parts are thicker, some parts are thinner. It all does have the glue all on there. I know there is store-bought crackle material, but I still, for me personally, find that this is my favoriteest way to make crackles, okay? So I mixed up some dark green and a touch of black, and I decided my paint was a little too thick, so I added some water, distilled water. It's what I keep in all my spritzy bottles and my water brush pens, just saying. And so now I'm putting this on basically the same way I did the Elmer's all-purpose glue, okay? And if you're going to get that, and if you plan on using a lot of Elmer's glue, I suggest just going to the hardware store and getting a gallon bottle of it. I've had the same gallon bottle for years. Look at that crackle, y'all. It starts pert near immediately. I did 2 sheets. And you can use the heat gun on it. It does not affect the way it crackles or anything like that, okay? I do suggest you leave this to dry overnight or even over weekend, okay? So anyway, the big gallon of bottle of Elmer's glue all that I have, I bought probably 15 years ago. It's way less than half left now. So, and the thing about it, it is a PVA glue. You can use it constructionally for construction purposes. It will help attach new concrete to old concrete. Just saying. Anyway, not an advocate nor an affiliate. So I have had this paper clay medallion on my desk for some time. You know, when I want to create and I don't know what I want to create, I will sometimes go out in the studio, okay? You know how we do stamps and we stamp images and we fussy cut up just so we can have them, and we do die cuts. I sometimes use the paper clay, and I don't remember the mold name. Shame on me. Anyway, I had this one and I had already had it painted black, and then I put gold on it because, you know, everybody likes a little gold accent. But for this particular journal cover, I decided to go silvery. So I got out some foundry wax, which you'll see momentarily. And the alcohol ink just helps to, alcohol ink, bless my heart, alcohol isopropyl helps you smoosh it around because it does dry pretty quick, all right? And it will help keep it from messing up your brushes or whatnots. And then you hit it with the heat gun, y'all. Oh, heat gun, y'all. And it just makes that just, poof. I can't tell them a little tiny editing screen that I complain about all the time. I'm not complaining. It's just the way it is when you're editing. And I thought, well, I'm going to go over it with another coat. So I did. And I put happy with it. So we've got some black you can see in the crevices there. And every once in a while, heat gun, y'all, the gold shines through. Look at that crackle paper. Now, this was cardstock. And now it's a little thickish because, you know, we have several layers of paint on there. And this is why I wanted 2 sheets, because I had in my mind how I was going to put this cover together. We're going to have a front and a back cover and a separate spine. Okay, that's put together not necessarily traditionally. I don't think I can explain it, but well, you'll see it. We'll get there. So I'm trying to leave myself room, and I'm trying to think, well, I'm just going to have to make that spine piece an individual standalone with some scrap. Because I thought, oh, there's no way I would be able to make it a third piece of this card that would match so well. Because, you know, I decided I wanted my crackle lines to go in a specific direction. I don't know why I did that, but I did. Because, you know, artist prerogative and all that. So, like I said, we're going to call this 6-Pack Collab. What a great name, Lynn. I'm just saying, that's a great name. I love it. So much better than just journal collaboration. Not that there's anything wrong with that one either. Anyway. My favorite glue, Aleene's Original. I know I like wet glue. I know a lot of people don't, and that's okay. Sometimes I use the Yes Paste, but I didn't want to use the Yes Paste this time. Why? Because I didn't want to. That's why I have both, right? Well, actually, never mind. Anyway, smoosh it around with a silicone brush that I think is typically used for makeup or applying face mask or whatever, but it sure makes a great brush for the glue. Doing that, glue that on there. I'm really happy with the cover, y'all. It's already been mailed. We do the cover and then we mail it to our appropriate mail person, and for me that is Jessica Harris. Okay. And then the next chapter will be the signatures. And there will be other things, you know, because there's got to be six rounds. You know, yeah. The journal gets basically built chapter by chapter. And we will each have our hand in each chapter, but in a different journal. Yeah, something like that. So here's our unusual spine technique. Okay? I don't know where it came from. It was just something I thunk of. because it was the best way I could figure out how to put it together, y'all. Anyway, I had this blue, it was a table runner from the Hobby Lobby in their 2022 spring clearance stuff. They had these, you know, cheesecloth looking things they called table runners, and they're already dyed and colored up and lovely. So I had several colors, and I wanted to go with the blue one. It's my color of the year. Just saying. Not that it matters, just saying. And I thought, well, I want that because I wanted it. I don't know why sometimes I want stuff, y'all, like that. Why I put stuff together. I just do. Follow the muse. Follow the muse. So, I'm attaching that to the chipboard. This is real chipboard, y'all, not you know, cereal box chipboard. This is the real deal. So I'm putting that, there's my cover piece, you know, my crackle. And I'm putting that on there, tried to center it up as best as I mean, it's not perfect. I mean, something I did. It's not necessarily perfect, but it's serendipitously perfect. So we're smashing it together, and we'll fold up the little ends, and we'll scrooge up the little cheesecloth table runner. Well, I'm just going to call it cheesecloth, y'all, because that's what it is in my head. Anyway, for some reason I feel like I always have to explain stuff, and I probably over-explain. So I'm smooshing it down really, really well with a bone folder. It's not a real bone. Now, for the front and back cover, I am trimming away the corners, and a couple times I trim away just a little too much. I know no one is shocked by that. And as you saw, I pre-folded all around because I want it to flip over inside so it'll be nice, pretty little edges, mostly. And I like to put my glue on there and let it set for, you know, like that long. Smoosh it around my finger this time because, you know, I'm using the fancy tools. And I will either fold the top and bottom or the side to side first, because that's just the way I do it. That's my technique, y'all. You can use it. You can do it that way too if you want to. So I'm smooshing it all down because, you know, one of the things was needs to be a sturdy cover, well made. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do my best because, you know, I'm playing with the big curls now. Well, for this collaboration anyway. Which I'm quite honored and was thrilled to be invited to participate in. So, use my little fingernail to smoosh up those little corners so they'll be all folded in nice and neat. And now we're doing the sides. I do speed up. This is in hyper speed, y'all. Hyperdrive. For your viewing pleasure and my voiceover ease. So, because I like to do voiceovers. Some say I like to hear myself talk. I don't know about that. But, you know, it's the way it goes. So I'm smooshing it down. Pretty happy. We'll have a little incident coming up in a minute. Smooshing it down. Oh, I'm missing a gap. Oh. So I just slivered off a little piece of scrap over there. We're just going to stick it in there, and you will not notice. So if you notice, don't say anything. You won't notice. You'd have to look real hard because even though I knew it was there, I had to look real hard once I had it all together. And I'm like, yeah, I can't see that. So nobody's going to notice that at all. So now we're back to our spine piece. Okay. That's a piece of Tyvek because I want it to open and close and not, you know, eventually kind of wear through. Because, well, they do kind of wear through anyway. Books do, you know. Anyway, I want to reinforce it. Let's say it. Reinforce it. So I have a piece of Tyvek that comes as white, and I painted it black. I don't know if you can get colored Tyvek or not. I don't know. Amazon's, y'all. Just saying. So I'm going to paint it black. Did I say that? I'll paint it black, and I'm putting it on there. And I'm going to get it all on there, and I'm going to flip it over, and I'm like, I wanted the black on the other side. I'm rolling it and everything. I'm just like doing it. Just, y'all. My goodness. I didn't want it on that side. That's when I realized. I'm like, excuse me. So pull it off. It's fine. It's fine. This is not going to change anything or hurt anything. But now we have to put more glue on. Because, you know, it's important you see my gluing technique. Y'all. Goodness gracious. More glue. And I do believe at different stages I let these dry overnight under a heavy book. Or 2 heavy books, depending. So, excuse me. Now I've got to smash it all back down. And it's okay. It's all right. It's perfect. And, you know, it's pretty much even Steven, you know, about the same on each side. And I'm like, yeah, I like that. Now, I'm trying to think of how I'm going to attach it to the covers, which was a secondary reason for the tie back. Well, the first reason was reinforcement, okay? And so I'm just fixing a little part that had too much white, shiny white. Because the cheesecloth is going on the outside of the spine, okay? It's sort of going to get glued down, but not really. So now we're getting our glue on there. It is my favorite glue. I know I said it already. I'm not a sponsor nor an affiliate, but it's still my favorite glue. Smooshing that down. Did I mention I was happy with this cover? Because I am. And I still haven't decided which is the front and which is the back. And it doesn't matter yet. It will. So that is the same piece of chipboard, and I am using that as a spacer to allow it to open and close without much effort, really. So I'm going to use it to smoosh down into the gap. This is becoming the book crack gap. It's not the book crack gap. It's not. It's the cover to spine gap, okay? To allow it to open easily. And I'm like, yeah, I'm digging that. I'm like, yeah. So we're going to do the other side. We're going to do the exact same thing, mostly, sort of. And I did use the bone folder as well, which, you know, because you want to work your attachment there so that you got a good little gap, but it's not a gap, if you know what I mean. Mind the gap, y'all. Smooshing the glue. I know my voiceovers can be entertaining because I never really know what I'm going to say. I mean, I kind of have a general idea of what we're talking about while we're watching, you know, but I don't really know what the words are going to be. So here we come, our little spacer. I'm like, yeah, that's looking good. I know everybody's thinking like, oh, I don't see how this is going to work. I know, me either. I mean, you know, I could have made a second one, redone the first one, or whatever. Could have, you know, made another, and y'all would have never knowed. Y'all would have never did noted. Smooshing it all up. Now, I thought, you know what? I just don't feel that good about that attaching everything together because, you know, there's nothing holding it on the outside per se. So I painted a little black across the top and a little black across the bottom for any part that's going to expose out from the inside cover. Okay, which will be a whole piece by itself. And I thought, well, I'm just going to put some cardstock on there. Okay, it's just a lightweight, medium weight, whatever cardstock, not heavy. So I had this scrap. It's the actual scrap, y'all. And I thought, well, that's near perfect. It extends slightly beyond the tie back piece that we've already added. Okay, and it's dry. You know, that other piece is already dry. So fortunately, I had enough time that I was able to work on my cover pretty good. So we're doing the same thing. We're working it into the little gap that we have, spacing, gap, whatever we now want to call it, gap. And it's like insurance, y'all. And I'm like, yeah, that's flipping, flopping really well. And you do need to be careful, because once paper and our cardstock gets damp, which it will from wet glue, it becomes a little stretchy and a little very terrible. Tear it up, y'all. So you got to be kind of mindful. You don't want to put holes and tears and stuff like that in there. And I'm like, yeah, I like that. So now we're back to our paper clay medallion, and this was the piece of chipboard. It's actually 2 layers, because I wanted 2 layers because the paper clay medallion was thicker-ish. Anyway, and that's the deli paper that we used to help clean up the mono printing plate way back at the beginning. And we're going to use that as our background for our paper clay medallion, because I thought, I like it. And we know that's the number 1 priority, is that I like it. So now we're gluing that on with my second favorite glue, our glitter glue. I'm not going to smoosh it around. And we're gluing that on there. And I'm like, yeah, it's darn near perfect fit. Got to trim away that pencil line though, y'all. So yeah, I'm going to do that. And I let that dry for a while. I don't know how long, y'all. Could have been as long as you see in the video. It could have been, 2 minutes. I don't know. It was important that you see me trim a lot, evidently. And apologies for the weird noises. They have finished tearing out the woods across the street, because they're going to build houses in there. At least that was the last rumor I heard. It was going to be houses. Thank you, Jesus. It's going to be houses. So I have a book plate thing, and typically you can put little slips of paper in there to change the name, or put your own name on there or whatever. This one wasn't that way. Okay, this was like, you put your paper in there and that's it. So I thought, okay, well, we're just going to use this little word strip that I had, because I'm like, oh, I like that one. It says creating a story. I'm like, well, that's perfect for, a journal. We're going to have 6 chapters. We're creating a story, a journal story. Okay. And it was a different color, and I put the foundry wax on there, and I have a couple of gears, because, our paper medallion is sort of steampunk-ish. Yeah. And we're using UV resin. I'm using UV resin. And I covered up, our little book plate thingy. And now I'm adding it to the back paper, the deli paper, of the paper medallion that's been glued on there and dried under weight for a while. And just filling it in, because in my mind, you have to understand, these muses, they get their mind set. It's going to look like it's on glass, or perhaps enamel. Okay? It's going to be shiny. I'm like, yes. So, and that is the UV resin that works best for me. And I don't know. I don't remember if I put a link or not to it, because it's from the Amazon, y'all. And we're just doing that, and that's a little silicone brush thingy that works so well. That's a UV light, because it needs a UV light to cure. You don't have to have light. You can use regular sunshine UV light. Okay. So we're doing that. We're going to attach the gears with the UV resin. I have some flat back pearls that I have already made the silver color. Also with the foundry wax, I think. Anyway. And I'm using the UV to glue on, to attach the gears, cogs, whatever you want to call them. And also the little flat back pearls that are now going to be rivets. They're going to look like they're supposed to look like rivets. So I hope everyone goes, oh, well, look at those cool little rivets. So anyway, I do like using flat back pearls as rivets. They're pretty cool like that. So this is the cardstock. It is a scrapbook paper, And it is our inside cover. And we are again going to use my favorite glue. So, and I'll cut it to the approximate size. And we got our glue all smushed it out. We're going to roll up our little silicone mat there that, comes in very handy. We're going to flop it over. We're going to stick it on there. We're not smooshing too much, just a little bit. Okay. Because we want to try to have it the same. Not that you can necessarily see both the inside front and inside back at the same time. And that is just a squeegee tool. And I'm using that to work that down into the gap. Okay, because we still want it to open and close easily. That was one of our objectives, our goals, one of the rules. So, smooshing it down. Again, I'm being careful. May look like I'm being, manhandling this, but I'm being pretty careful. So we're smooshing over the spine. We're getting the gap on this side. Working our bone folder in there. Gonna fold it up. I'm like, yeah, it's looking good. Please don't rip. Please don't tear. Please keep folding. There we go. I don't know what I was going to say. I was going to say obviously something, but, So as you can see, I'm flip-flopping it pretty good to make sure it goes, closes, opens, working it in there. I'm like, yeah, y'all, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy. And I'm like, I want just a little more cheesecloth on the front cover. I'm not giving any mind to the paper medallion framed piece that we now have, okay? And I want to glue the cheesecloth a little bit. I'm using art glitter glue. It is strong enough to hold it. I'm putting some down in the gap because I'm going to work the little cheesecloth kind of down in there. Because I want it to stay over the back and over the front kind of thing, okay? And I am using art glitter glue as opposed to Fabri-Tac or Fabri-Fix on account of those latter two glues dry shiny. I don't know if you know that, but they do. And I wanted just a little more cheesecloth on the front, so I'm just trimming out a little piece. I'm just going to add a little bit on there. And I added a little more than I probably should have, but because we end up cutting some of it away. Because I'm going to even put even more, because I'm still not giving thought to the framed medallion piece that I want on the front cover. This would have been just fine all by itself without the medallion piece. I think it looked cool anyway. But no, I wanted to use that medallion piece. I'm like, okay, we'll get there. I know. Rattling. This video's long. Might have could have broke it up in two parts, but then you wouldn't get a video on the second Tuesday. You would get it on the second and third Tuesday, and I didn't want to play that game. We're just going second Tuesdays of the month throughout this collaboration. It's my goal. So dibby-dopping the glue, smashing it down with the little silicone brush doolaller. Oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Then I'm like, oh, that medallion piece is over there. Oh, shoot. I didn't want it to cover it up. Anyway, I had book corners that were intended to go on the front and back cover of the book. But when I tried them on, just, because you like to see how things are going to look sometimes before you commit and glue stuff down, I thought, I do not like that at all. So I put them on our medallion frame piece, and I thought, I do like that. So that's where they're going to live, on the little frame medallion thing. Now, also during the time I was putting the UV resin on there, I thought, I wonder if I could add some charms on this cover. And they are attached with the UV resin. I use little tiny keys that are charms. And I had jump ring and chain, just little short chains coming out. So there's some little motion going on. You'll see more butter probably in a little while or at the photo montage for sure. brochures. And I am using some glue there on the edge of our chipboard and sliding that on, and I'm going to squish it down, okay? And then this will get attached to the cover, because by this time I've already decided which is the front and which is the back, and all that work to make all that crackle is most of it's getting covered up. That's a-okay. That's the name of the game with those layers, y'all. Okay, getting that on there. It's a fancy framed medallion piece now, y'all. Okay? And yeah, it probably took a week, at least a week on the cover, because, you know, I dried under weight and all that kind of stuff, and my humidity and blah, blah, blah. You can now see where I trimmed a lot of that cheesecloth away. Because I'm like, it is just going to be in the way, and I don't want it flopping over the framed medallion, but I want it still there. For me, it's reminiscent of the old book spines, you know, when they come apart or you take them apart, as the case may be, when you're altering, how you have that fuzzy fabric stuff on the spines, the olden days spines, not the newen days spines, okay? And we decided we wanted to make a little notebooks to go inside the journals to keep track of who did what in which journal. So I made, computer printed out a cover. And of course I'm on the first page because I'm doing chapter 1 of this one. And it does not have the now hashtag I'm going to be using because it was already gone by the time we picked one. And or time I picked one, because, you know, birdsong, thank you. So we're just making a little staple journal, and as it turns out, the stapler wouldn't reach. Oh, I had issues with this stapler. Yeah, some of this process was like, oh. So I'm like, how do I even open this long arm stapler? I love that thing, y'all. It was well worth the $20 I spent on it some 20 years ago. Anyway, I colored the staples with I think it was a blue magic marker, whatever, Sharpie, whatever, y'all, whatever, showing my age with the magic marker stuff. Anyway, I'm real happy I got those staples really centered right there where they needed to be. Now, we were make a little notebook enough so that everybody has, you know, space and room to write down what they might want to write down, their techniques or whatever they want to put on there. And I had these little envelopes right there, and I thought I'm going to use the envelope as a pocket. Now it's a dual pocket. Y'all know I can't just go to necessarily simple. I wanted the front of the envelope to be the front of the envelope, but I wanted the flap to be on the envelope because it's an envelope. Okay, so I've got some scrap paper from the printing process of the computer, and we are attaching that inside the envelope, and I'm going to put the flap back on the envelope, depending on how you pronounce it, and I'm going to have to piece together a little bit, but that's okay. We'll cover that up and you won't necessarily notice it either, so don't notice it if you see it. If you see it, don't say you noticed it. Whatever, y'all know what I mean. So we're gluing on little pieces, and we're trimming around here, and we're trimming around there, and at some point I think I ink around it. I don't know if I show you that part, because, you know, sometimes it's important you see the inking and sometimes it's not. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna work for me and make me pretty happy. So if you've ever gotten Happy Mail from me, you know I sometimes use the back of the envelope to address, because sometimes the front of the envelope has images on it that you might want to use in your junk journal or your scrappy stuff, or reuse or not reuse, as the case may be, because once I put it in the mail, it's not my problem anymore. Okay? Oh, my cover gets mailed to Jessica Harris. Oh, it's already mailed to her anyway. So hopefully by the time the video goes up, she will have it in her hot little hands, because the next chapter is the signatures. Okay, so gonna ink. Good to see. go around it with coffee colored ink and then go around it with a black. And then I thought, well, let's just add a little bit of this here cheesecloth because there's a lot of scraps over there. And I'm like, okay, let's do that. So we're just going to glue that on there, a little flap. Okay, let's add some interest because, it does. Like, yeah. So we do this a lot. And the little notebook fits it. You could do a lot with this little notebook. It will fit inside the envelope. And because of the way I glue it into the back cover envelope is a pocket, y'all. Because, yeah. I like to make things complicated sometimes. That's just the way I am. So now we're going to I put cellophane tape on there to hold everything down for when you slipping stuff inside and out. Okay? Or slipping in stuff inside and out. When you're putting stuff in and sliding it back out. So I wanted it cockeyed, not down at the bottom, kind of in the middle. Okay? See? I'll add a thumb notch, but I don't know if you see that part. Don't put it in there until the glue's dried, okay? Oh, here comes the thumb notch. And at first, it's too small, and then I make it just slightly bigger later off screen. Pretty sure about that, yeah. Well, yeah, so now we got to try to ink that. And I'm like, these afterthoughts. Y'all. Anyway, I've like I said, 2-3 times. I'm pretty happy. Don't worry, we're getting there. We are getting there. I appreciate you sticking it out with me so far. Okay. All right. See? Goes inside the envelope. After a while, that flap will stay down. Or you could stick it behind there in the pocket. Look at that. Here's a cover. Now we're going to do a little flippy floppy thing. I have to adjust the camera. I could have cut that out, but no. So, our front and back. Her little charms, got a light bulb and a dragonfly because I love the dragonflies. Inside, and that inside foiling on the paper, it's silver gold. It's so it worked out serendipitously perfect. Y'all look at that. Yeah, baby. Ta-da! Photo montage. As I said, there is no set days or times for people to have videos up if they're even going to post videos. The channel links are in the description, and I do recommend that you visit these channels because these some fine, crafty people, y'all. And you won't want to miss their videos of hashtag 6-pack collab. Haha. Look at that. How fun is that? I think it's fun. I had a good time making it, even with the little frustrations from here to there. And anyways, thanks for watching. No, it's not time for that yet. Is it? Almost. We're getting there. Makes me happy. I mean, I only had so many pictures I could take because once it's gone, it's not mine anymore. Look at that. Creating the story. That's what I called this cover. Okay? Okay. I look forward to seeing the cover I get to put a signature in. As I said, please visit the links, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, like their videos, and share the videos. We all appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for watching, and happy arting, y'all.